Thanks very much, Tim. If we can go to the next slide, please. Okay, I'll just touch very briefly on this. Tim's introduced the market cap. Importantly, top 20 shareholding. We've got a number of very well-respected Australian institutional funds in that top 20 and a number of family offices, both from Australia and from Europe. So it's a very stable institutional and family office group that have supported us through past fundraisings. On the right is a map of Ecuador. Today I'll be talking about two projects, Bramaderos and El Palmar. We've had news flow just recently this week on Bramaderos with some very, very good results. And we're expecting news flow out of El Palmar within the next week or two. Let's go to the next slide. Just briefly on Ecuador, I'll hit the main points. The government is absolutely supportive of growing the mining industry. It's the fourth largest contributor currently to export earnings. Ecuador is primarily an oil producing country, and the government sees that that's not the future and they want to increase their exposure to mining. As a consequence of that, we've got two large operating gold mines, a gold mine and a gold copper mine. Modern mine developments that are performing very well and demonstrating the benefits that come from responsible mining. There's also a handful of advanced projects. The most prominent, I guess, is the Cascabel project owned by SolGold, and then a number of others, for example, Warintza owned by Solaris. The key issue here is that these recent discoveries over the last few years and these mine developments has brought all the major companies into Ecuador. So BHP, Newcrest, Newmont, Barrick, Anglo American, Hancock Group, all have a presence in Ecuador, and they're looking for gold and copper assets. Next slide, please. The investment proposition for Sunstone is very simple. Discovery adds huge value, and the team at Sunstone have been involved in some large discoveries. We're involved with Intrepid Mines at the Tujuh Bukit discovery in Indonesia, and we're involved in the securing of the Cascabel opportunity in Ecuador and the early drilling with SolGold. We gave our shareholders and other investors a taste of discovery in late 2021 when we delivered a hole from each of our projects, and we saw the share price move from 2 cents to 12 cents in a fairly short period of time. So that's what we're expecting to deliver during 2023. And we got a flavour for that on Wednesday's release from the Le Monde property at Bramaderos. Next slide, please. Very briefly, ESG, it's embedded in our business. And the key point here is that we'll be issuing our inaugural sustainability report in the fourth quarter of 2023. We're doing a lot of very, very good work in these areas, and it's certainly time that work became more public and more available to existing shareholders and potential investors. Next slide, please. Okay, we'll talk about Bramaderos in southern Ecuador first. A key component to the value of Bramaderos is its location and its infrastructure support. So to get to the project, you can fly from the capital city, Quito, on a commercial flight for an hour, very short flight. Then you hop in a vehicle and you drive for an hour and a half on the old bitumen Pan American Highway, and you're at the project site. The Pan American Highway runs through our concession, but not through our target areas where we're drilling. The upper left photo shows you the valley within which the targets exist. So each of those conical hills is a porphyry centre, and the one in the foreground is Alba, which forms a component of our resource that we released last December. We're only at 900 metres above sea level, so there's no high Andean issues. And importantly, it's pretty arid down here. It's wet for 3 months of the year, and for the other 9 months it's pretty dry, and for that reason it's marginal agriculture, sparse population density, and it's primarily goat and cattle country over many of those hills. The primary crops are peanuts and corn, and they're primarily on the western side of the highway, and all of our work is on the east. Next slide, please. This is the concession. As I said at the outset, all the targets are on the eastern side of the Pan American Highway. I should have said earlier too that Pan American Highway, there's a power grid in this area. It's 88% hydropower, so absolutely ticks the green power box, and there is power available for a large porphyry development. So all the buzz this week is about Lemon. You can see it there in the upper right-hand corner of that graphic. We released some very good results from Lemon, but also shown in this graphic is the Brahma Alba area. That's where we released our mineral resource. And then we've also released an exploration target. Adding all those things together, we're pretty confident that we've got a 10 million ounce gold equivalent field here. And the aim of the Lemon drilling is to demonstrate that we have a higher grade front end to help with any development decisions. So let's go to the next slide. This is Lemon. So we released results from hole 17, 180 metres at just over a gram gold equivalent. That included some high grade zones, 15 metres at nearly 4 grams. And within that was a 2 metre, 22 gram interval that had visible gold in it. And this is from surface. And this area is open. We're open to the north, we're open to the east, and we're open to the west. So we've planned a 2,000 metre follow-up drill program across 10 holes, and that'll be commencing within the next couple of weeks. So we went to Lemon to drill for 3 reasons. 1, define near-surface mineralisation. 2, define higher grade, and start to put together the argument for a potential higher grade starter pit. We've delivered on all of those from this hole at Lemon. Next slide, please. So what does that mean? So we've got some photographs here on the right. The mineralisation is in a breccia. You've got visible gold. We've got a target that's 2 kilometres long by 800 metres. We've got a number of different epithermal alteration systems at surface. We've got one porphyry system at surface, and we're drilling a deeper porphyry target at the moment. So there's huge upside potential for what Lemon can bring to the broader Brahmaderos project. Next slide, please. This is what it looks like. So those brown unvegetated hills that are in the middle part of the photo there, each of those are epithermal systems based on their surface alteration and anomalous soil geochemistry. Obviously, positive topographic features. If it comes to mining, very easy to develop. Next slide. So the impact it has. This is our initial mineral resource. This was released in December, 150 million tonnes at 0.5, just over 0.5 gold equivalent for 2.7 million ounces. We're very confident that we can significantly increase this initial mineral resource, but we need a higher grade front end, and that's what Lemon is delivering. This is only from 27,000 metres of drilling, not a lot for an initial mineral resource. So we will do more drilling, grow the resource. This was pit constrained as well, so quite a conservative approach. Let's go to the next slide. This is what Brahma Alba looks like. So positive topographic feature, very simple to mine. We'd initially be mining a hill. Next slide. But this is the upside. So this is in addition to that resource. So 2.7 million ounces gold equivalent in the initial resource. 3.3 to 8.6 million ounces we can see in an exploration target from 3 areas, Brahma Alba outside the pit, Melanal, Lemon, and then we've got 2 other significant targets, Plias and Porotillo, that aren't included in this. So that's why we have confidence that this is a 10 million ounce gold equivalent field, and the Lemon results will obviously trigger a review of this. Hopefully 2023 does that, and we'll expect a higher grade front end. That's it for Brahmaderos. I'll talk about El Palmar in the north now. If we can go to the next slide, please. El Palmar is on the same regional structure as the Cascabel project, which is a 3 billion tonne porphyry copper gold deposit that we were involved in the early days when we were with SolGold. So we're following up on a similar geological environment at El Palmar, well located, power infrastructure already in place. There's a hydropower facility just down the valley from where we're exploring. So exactly the right address to deliver a world-class porphyry discovery. Next slide, please. This is the concession. There's epithermal gold in the north, but the real focus is on this cluster of porphyry targets, T1 to T5. We've drilled at T1. We've drilled 21 drill holes. We've got a gold copper porphyry system from surface with a vertical extent of at least 900 metres. but we're currently drilling T2, and that's where all the excitement is. We've drilled 3 holes, all of which are mineralised, and we're now targeting the deeper zone. If we can look at the next slide, see what that looks like. So the image on the left is a plan. The image on the right is a section through that large T2 target. We're down about 600 metres. We're just approaching target zone, bearing in mind that the Cascabel deposit is 600 metres below surface where it starts. We're seeing trace chalcopyrite and some B veining in that drill hole. We know that we've got porphyry-style mineralisation above it. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll be in target zone for that mineralisation. Apologies here. If we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, what's ahead of us for 2023? We've got drilling at Le Mans following up on hole 17. We want to grow that exploration target, and we want to deliver additional discoveries at Plias and Portillo. El Palmar, deliver a discovery at T2, and we'll know that within the next couple of weeks what we've got, and assays will follow a month later. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Malcolm. We had a couple of technical issues at our end and obviously a couple at your end, but it's the beauty of Zoom. You've obviously got some big boys in the country. You mentioned BHP and Newcrest, etc. Are you seeing any kind of M&A activity within the country as well?
Yeah, we are. Sorry, I've just got to turn this alarm off that's sitting here making a hell of a noise and probably in the background. Okay.
No problem.
All the big boys are there, and there's a lot of interest. So you know, we've had inquiries coming, people wanting to know what we're doing. So there's obviously files out there on us. One issue with Ecuador is that the Mines Ministry are preparing for reopening of the cadastre, which means that new concessions will then have a system within which they can be applied for. Those of us that have existing concessions, and these are 25-year renewable type concessions, are obviously sitting in a good position. So exposure to large porphyry discoveries on existing valid concessions are extremely valuable. In the south, gold-dominated system. In the north, we're hoping to deliver another Cascabel. So absolutely, there's interest from the majors in wanting to grow their position, and they're all well placed in Ecuador.
And is there any kind of peers that, I mean, miners always talk about neurology. Is there anything you've learned from some of the, say, more established peers around your ground in terms of their resource?
Yeah, so there's an ASX-listed company next to us to the southwest at Bramaderos called Titan Minerals. They have a non-JORC NI 43-101 gold resource of a couple of million ounces that they're working on bringing into JORC compliance. They're also exploring for porphyries in their concessions as well. Another ASX-listed company, Challenger, has ground to the north of us. There's a large gold-rich porphyry deposit held by a company on the TSX called Lumina Gold. So there's a lot of activity in the south there, and that's important because as we go forward, I think we'll see domains in Ecuador that are strongly supportive for mining development, and that southern area will be one of those. In the north, you know, SolGold have essentially said they want to be acquired, and they're looking at potential ways forward for that. They have BHP on their register, Newcrest, Jiangxi Copper. So, yeah, there's that level of activity there, and I think it's because just people are optimistic about the future discovery potential that Ecuador holds, because it's the same belt of rocks that contain the world's largest copper deposits in Chile and Peru, but it hasn't seen nearly the level of exploration.
Makes sense. And just back to your Bramaderos project, you've already delivered some strong gold, copper, porphyry results, and the company now has an initial mineral resource estimate. You also, looks like you've got a large number of further targets in this area. So what does the drilling program look like for the rest of 2023?
Yeah, so we've got 3 rigs operating in Ecuador. Today, we've got 2 up at El Palmar and 1 down at Bramaderos. Given the results from hole 17, we'll probably adjust that balance, and you'll probably see 2 rigs down at Bramaderos and 1 continuing with the T2 drilling at El Palmar. So we've got a clear path of 2,000 meters at Limon. We've got a clear path of about 3,000 to 4,000 meters drilling other porphyry targets at Bramaderos. And then El Palmar drilling program will be updated and planned once we see the results from these 2 T2 targets. So we've got another 1,500 meters or so planned there. So very clearly planned out for the next 2 to 3 months.
Thanks, Malcolm. That's all we have time for. Enjoy your weekend. We'll follow with interest. We'll get you back on at a later date.
Thanks very much, Tim. Appreciate it.